Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. I'll be your narrator for the foreseeable future as we quickly and efficiently go through all the Magic the Gathering's lore from the very beginning. Each episode will focus on a different novel. While I can't include every little detail, I'll be sure to get all the main plot points through so you can understand exactly what's going on in the multiverse. Ever wanted to catch up on Magic's lore but didn't have the time? You found the right place. And so it begins. I present to you all the Thran. To start, here's a little background. Thran is a civilization known as one of the greatest to ever exist in the Magic universe. It's comprised of 8 city-states that are overseen by a committee of elders. Thran's claim to fame was its ability to produce power stones. These objects provided near unlimited free energy to anything they wanted. It was used just like electricity. It heated their homes, was used for any type of machinery, you get the idea. Thran, and in particular Halcyon, was also the home to artificers, people with the ability to make magically empowered artifacts. Using power stones, nearly anything was possible. All you really need to know about Thran is that it was a very advanced civilization with much of the same aspects you'd see out of one of our own. There were class separations, petty arguments, political issues, etc. With the stage set, our story begins. Glacian, the genius artificer who designed the power stones used throughout Thran, is suddenly stabbed by an untouchable named Gix using a power stone dagger during a riot. Untouchables are citizens of Thran who were banished to the Caves of the Damned under the city due to a terrible sickness. This riot was caused by workers from the Mana Rig. We'll talk more about that later. Just note for now that most Untouchables are poor. Glacian has been stabbed and has contracted a horrible illness. Thran healers cannot cure him. His wife Rebecca, with her considerable influence as the city's leading architect, calls for the return of the infamous Dr. Yawgmoth to aid her husband. Having been exiled due to political issues, Yawgmoth must first make his way back to the city. Once he reaches Glacian, Yawgmoth diagnoses his mysterious disease as something he calls phthisis. After further inquiry and research, Yawgmoth discovers the sick Untouchables banished beneath the city also have phthisis. Yawgmoth hunts down Gix and studies him along with Glacian, discovering that the Power Stones are the reason for the disease. The Untouchables contracted this disease from the Mana Rig that produces Power Stones beneath the capital. No one gave this correlation a second thought, as poor people getting sick isn't exactly something the capital worries about. After finding this out, Gix storms away to take revenge for the countless Untouchables that have died from this radiation thus far. Yawgmoth uses this new information about phthisis to gain funding and staff to continue his research. Through further investigation, Yawgmoth develops a cure with the help of a healer named Zod. They decide to use metals to create a serum that fights phthisis. While this is all going on, Gix is really upset, so he leads a rebellion of the lower classes. When the city's just about to rip itself to pieces, Yawgmoth shows up with the cure and hands it out to all the Untouchables, quelling the rebellion and becoming a national hero in addition to being elected to the council. This celebration would be awkwardly short-lived, since soon after this, creatures of all kinds came knocking on Halcyon's door demanding Yawgmoth's head. They claim that during his exile, Yawgmoth performed terrible experiments on humans, minotaurs, dwarves, and all other manner of living beings. He would both spread disease and cure it, for science. Naturally, this didn't go over well with the council, and a vote was taken on whether or not to hand Yawgmoth over. The vote was split, and the newest member of the council, Yawgmoth, got to decide for himself whether he would stay. Naturally, he chose not to die to a bunch of diseased minotaurs. With Yawgmoth virtually untouchable, he continues his dastardly deeds. Glacian hasn't recovered like the rest of the people who were given the serum. He remains in poor health and starts developing various mental disorders before going into a brief coma. Yawgmoth and Rebecca grow closer as she spends more time with him and away from her husband. Little does she know, Yawgmoth has been intentionally diluting the serum to get more people sick. Gix finds out about this and is none too pleased. Here enters the planeswalker Dyfed. She had heard of Glacian's genius and wanted to meet him for herself. In the middle of said meeting, Yawgmoth bursts in. Wasting no time, he convinces Dyfed to find a plane where he can create his own utopia. Soon after this arrangement is made, Gix decides he hasn't had a good rebellion in a while. He leads a large riot, but Yawgmoth was long prepared for this. In the sky above Halcyon, there is an object people thought was a moon. Yeah, not a moon. In fact, it was a device designed to control all Thran technology remotely. Another one of Glacian's designs. Using this overpowered device, known as the Null Sphere or Null Moon, he crushes Gix's rebellion and retains full control over the city. The planeswalker Diafed comes back to Yawgmoth saying she found a plane he'd love. The plane is a weird combination of both life and artifice. It's perfect for Yawgmoth. In the Caves of the Damned, now turned into experimental laboratories, Diafed creates a planar portal from Dominaria to this new plane, opening up the door to go between them permanently. She does this by breaking a power stone in 2 pieces. If reconnected, the portal will close. He names this new plane Phyrexia. Yawgmoth begins bringing the infected people to his new plane, where he uses empty power stones to suck the disease right out of them. I know, power stones curing power stones, yeah. Anyways, as long as the power stones were taken out before they started radiating again, the infected were cured. It's also important to note that in this plane, people started changing physically. You'll see what I mean a bit later. Rebecca's worried that Glacian isn't getting any better. Yawgmoth deduces that there's still a piece of the Power Stone dagger within him. He removes it, but secretly replaces it with the 2 halves of the Power Stone needed to shut down the planar portal. Yep, he put the key inside Glacian's body. You heard that right. Naturally, Glacian's condition continues to deteriorate. Remember those men, dwarves, and minotaurs that were really angry at Yawgmoth? Well, they've come back with the entire rest of the Empire to lay siege to Halcyon, demanding Yawgmoth's head. Of course, he won't go quietly, so Yawgmoth declares war using the Null sphere. He sends countless artifacts and half-man, half-artifact creations he made in Phyrexia to destroy the army laying siege. Because the Null sphere is still insanely ridiculous, Yawgmoth wins a decisive battle in the war. He uses this reprieve to try to get as many people from Halcyon as he can to Phyrexia and leave Thran behind. About half the population follow him. As he's leading people through the portal, Diafed shows up again. She's not happy. She's seen the kind of work that Yawgmoth is doing on this new plane she gave him. It's evil, inhumane, and disgusting. This combined with her distaste of the war, she vows to stop him. Yawgmoth takes a Power Stone dagger and stabs Diafed in the brain, preventing her from being able to consciously planeswalk or do much of anything else at all. Rebecca had followed Yawgmoth into Phyrexia and swiftly removes the Power Stone dagger from Diafed, allowing her to die and preventing Yawgmoth from performing any experiments. For the record, apparently planeswalkers can only planeswalk and be immortal if they consciously choose to be. In case you didn't know, that's why a planeswalker just died. Soon after all this took place, Glacian finally died. Rebecca's wrought with grief. While holding her dead husband, she finds the 2 Power Stones that Yawgmoth had put inside of him. The war is coming to an end and Yawgmoth decides to drop Stone Chargers. These are basically nuclear warheads in Thran. Once detonated, these Stone Chargers leave behind a death cloud encompassing pretty much everything. Seeing this, the rest of the Halcyons flee into Phyrexia, knowing they would die if they stayed. Once there, they are horrified to see the world they've entered. Many try to escape but are killed and used for parts. Rebecca is the only person that remains in Halcyon as everyone else has either been trapped or killed. She combines the 2 halves of the Power Stone together and inserts it into the planar portal. By doing this, she deactivates the portal, trapping Yawgmoth on Phyrexia and locking him out of Dominaria forever. Supposedly. The last thing she does is walk out of the Cave of the Damned into the Death Cloud. Well guys, that's the Thran. Super depressing, filled with Yawgmoth shenanigans. In the next episode, we'll be going ahead in time thousands of years as we meet our favorite brothers, Urza and Mishra. Until next time, this is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.